All right, let's get the show on the road. What's up, everyone? My name is Grace. I'm a real teacher giving out real tips. I thought I'd make this channel because when I was a first-year teacher, I was looking everywhere for tips, and I found some didn't work, some weren't helpful. It was put on my heart to create this channel. It would mean so much if you would like, comment, and subscribe. So let's get started. My first tip for parent-teacher conferences, especially if you're a first-year teacher, is to not be overwhelmed. Yes, they are a big deal. Yes, they can be intimidating, but it's all in your mind, really. If you think about it, the parents are probably more nervous to have the meeting than you are because they don't want to hear anything negative about their student or any challenges that their student may be facing behaviorally or academically. Remember that you're in control. You are the teacher, even though you might be younger than the parents, even though you might be a first-year teacher. You got this. You got this. So with that being said, keep your conferences short and sweet. Keep them 20 minutes. Don't go over 20 minutes. You are given one school day to essentially, in a perfect world, complete all your conferences. After that, if your conferences aren't complete, you still have to teach. So make sure that they're 20 minutes to get as many as you can finished and completed in one day. Tip number 3 is to schedule your conferences around the times that you are most effective as a teacher. If you work well in the morning and your school doesn't really start until 9 a.m., you can schedule your conferences starting at 7 in the morning. Keep in mind though, if you are scheduling them in person or in your school building, you're going to probably have to unlock the building yourself, so disarm it. And then you're probably going to need to open the door for the parents. Also, if you know you don't like to work super late at night, then when you create the sign-up schedule, don't make like a 6 p.m. slot. Once again, you're in control, you're the teacher. Something else to keep in mind is that your front office will close at a specific time that day. And so if you schedule parents for, like, let's say a 3 p.m. slot in person and the school closes at 2:30, you're in charge of letting them into the building. You're in charge of possibly rearming the building. So yeah, you don't want that pressure. So my next tip is kind of funny, but honestly, be a lawyer. And so what I mean by that is be confident in yourself, even if you are young. If you're confident in presenting all the facts, keyword facts, the parents will take you more seriously. I know last year was a struggle because I look really young for my age. I created a Google Drive for all of my students, even if they had in-person meetings, because it allowed me to stay organized. I got to send the Google Drive folders to all of my parents, even if their meeting was in person. I still gave them the link. And then if they did have an in-person meeting, I was able to print all the paperwork and give it to them. And then also, going back to having 20-minute conferences, if you are prepared like a lawyer and you have all your facts in front of you, honestly, you should be talking for about 15 minutes, because if you're not prepared and if you're a younger teacher and you really don't know what to talk about and you have nothing to talk about with the parents, they'll kind of question your authority and your credibility. But if you're prepared, you're ready to go, you have all these materials created, then they won't question your grading strategies or your grading reasonings. Another tip I have is over-communicate to your parents. I know at my school and my school district, the parent-teacher conferences are 100% mandatory. When you create your sign-up sheet to send out to your students' parents, you need to create it in advance prior to when the parent-teacher conferences happen. And that will alleviate stress on your end, because at least at my district, you need 100% completion rate. And in order to do that, parents need to sign up. And sometimes parents, they wait till the last minute, or they have schedule conflicts. And it'd just be nice on their end if you were organized and if you had all your materials ready to go. So basically what I do is I send out a video to my parents explaining, hey, it's parent-teacher conferences. I show them how to sign up, and I explain the expectations about parent-teacher conferences, and that if they have any scheduling conflicts, let me know, and that we can schedule it on a different day if needed. And that really helps. And then something else I do is I send a blast announcement through email, and I send a blast announcement using Remind. And I do that 2 weeks prior to conferences. If parents still have not signed up a few days before conferences are supposed to start, then I'll send the student home with a paper QR code saying, hey, scan this QR code to sign up for conferences. Sometimes parents forget. Sometimes they're trying to avoid the conference, but ultimately they need to go to the conference so that they are aware of their students' behavior and their academic progress. And my final tip would be to use SignUp Genius. I'm actually going to take you step by step on how to set up SignUp Genius effectively. So let's get started. You're going to go to signupgenius.com. From there, you're either going to sign in from a previous account, or you're going to create an account to log in for the very first time. Afterwards, you're going to select create a new sign up. And from there, you should be directed to a page similar to this, where it says title of sign up. I personally put my last name, and then I title it Parent Student Teacher Conference. For the group, I also put my last name, and I put the year that the conference will be taking place. For type and category, I select scheduling and education. And for the theme design, there's so many different types, but I prefer back to school pup. You see a cute little pup when the parents sign up. And so afterwards, you will get to see the title of your sign up, your group name, and there is a section for you to put a description for the conference. So a little bit about my description is that I say it is a mandatory district-wide parent-student-teacher conference. With joining by Zoom, I also was able to create one link for all the parents to click on, and that's really simple. But because of that, I created a setting that gives me access to grant access to any of the parents or guardians wanting to go into the meeting. So for instance, if they click on the meeting link by accident or too early, I more than likely will not grant them access. I do also mention that if parents use a desktop or a laptop, then they do not need to download the Zoom app or get a Zoom account. So the next step is you're going to press save, and you will be directed to this next page. So in this page, you will see a date and time slot, a slot for the location, and a slot for the available slots. So first, for starters, you're going to click on the sort by date. I prefer that it looks more simpler. I have my conferences starting at 7, and they are all 20 minutes long, and I actually batch my conferences up, so I have 5 on Zoom, 5 in person, and I rotate that. I just think that's more helpful for me as a teacher, so I don't have to keep switching back and forth like last year. Going to set up the time, and that's very important because if you live on the east side of America and it's set to Central Time, that is going to confuse the parents, and all of the sign-up times are going to be off. Double check that the settings are where you live so that the time is actually the correct time. And I like to format it by month, day, and year. And you can also make these settings your default settings. So once you're finished with that, you're going to press save. And then the next step is you are going to click on the Add Dates button. And so basically you're going to choose the date of your conference and you're going to select that date. And then afterwards, you get to input your start time and end time and location. And then another helpful tip is that you can click on the button that says add another time slot on this day. So you can add 30 time slots at once. And you can see I just created 3 slots and I'm typing in the location, Zoom online or in person, and then you just press add. So last but not least, you're going to click on add slots. This kind of seems a bit complicated when you first click on it, but I honestly leave the title of the slot blank and I leave the comment section blank. For number of wanted, I put 1 and I put on all dates because that's going to put the number 1 on all of your conferences, and then you're just going to press save. So next step is to click on settings. This is really important. So parents are going to be filling out their name, their preferred email address, and I make that a requirement. And also I think this is a really cool tip is for this section, I actually put the student's name and I put that as a requirement for the parents to fill out because sometimes parents and guardians have different last names than their students. So this definitely helps with the organization aspect. So next you're going to scroll down to preferences. I do not allow my parents or guardians to swap slots, but for notifications, I want SignUp Genius to notify me when they sign up for conferences. And I love when SignUp Genius sends them reminders a day in advance. So press save and continue once you are done with those 2 parts. Lastly, you're going to go on to the publish section. Before you publish, view the sign-up preview because this is how the parents are going to see what you created for the sign-up. So just double check that your times are correct, your locations are correct, and your slot looks great. And then for participant preview, this is as important. You get to see what the parents and guardians are seeing when they sign up. So they see the available slot, the date, the time, and they need to put their student name, they need to put their first and last name and their email, and then it's going to let them sign up because you need to select required before you input the section where you type in the student's name. I hope everyone learned more about parent-teacher conferences, and I honestly hope that you go into parent-teacher conferences this year more confident and more prepared after watching this video. Also, like this video, comment down below on what you want to see next. I'm super excited to be growing this channel.